This is Money in the Morning, New Year's edition. Welcome on.
Good.
We're live across Texas. How are you, Bruce?
I'm doing fantastic, David. It's good to see you. We are live in Houston, Texas, in College Park, and a few other places around Texas and Louisiana. We're streaming live across X and on LinkedIn, Crypto Cake, YouTube. It is a crazy day. It's a crazy morning, crazy New Year's morning. What did you do for New Year's last night, David?
Yep, I arrived here to Ireland. I flew over to Ireland, so I'm here, and we did the pubs and stuff. They had some nice bands playing. It was a good time. Some friends, and great time.
Oh wow, David, you did some pubs and stuff. You did the normal Ireland experience. You're back among your own people.
Yeah, right.
I mean, own people. We're not Irish. Just being funny. It is. I'm sure it is nice to be around where everybody is speaking English, though.
Oh yeah, that's right. Well, I was just starting to pick up on the Portuguese, so I went from a few words to like at least 10. But so I'll probably forget those by the time I get back. We'll see. Maybe I'll hang on to them.
Well, you should hang on to him because we'll be back. Mom and Dad even want to come and check out the Blockchain House Portugal. With hats off to our main man there, the mastermind behind it all, Emilio, who has is our gracious host over there in Portugal. Beautiful house, wonderful place. I mean, I know we've talked about it a few times, but those caves and those beaches, man, it's unbelievable. You really just unbelievable. It's so pretty. It's breathtaking.
It is. Yeah, it's a great place. Love it. Now I'm feeling lucky. The luck of the Irish is about to kick in full steam for 2024.
That's right. The luck of the Irish be with you, bro.
Yeah.
Well, that's really cool. You know, Ireland is a wonderful place. Dublin is a wonderful place, and it's good to have you on location there. A lot of you guys have heard about these 90-day runs, right? You hear about these 90-day run, 90-day, we're going on a 90-day run. Where our other brother, James, we have two other brothers, one's Jonathan's, one's James, is he's pushing us to start a 90-day run for the new year, starting tomorrow. We need to talk to 5 people a day. Greetings, Dr. Oleg. Thanks for joining in, man. So 5 people a day. So we're gonna start. You know, we have a shortcut here because we're doing our show, right? So I think what we'll do is we'll put up a Calendly and we'll start taking calls. What do you think?
There we go.
Does that sound like a good idea?
Great idea.
Right? We are live on Smart Money Culture TV. We're also live on Impact.live, Crypto Cake YouTube, Networks Manager Twitter. I'm Networks Manager. David is Sir David Porter. We're live on my LinkedIn, Bruce Porter Jr., and some other places, I think. We're adding more. We're live in Louisiana and Texas. Thanks for joining in. I know it's early. And of course, across the world. So it's really fun, guys. This is our 3rd week. We're having a great time.
It's a great time. Nice to hear from you every morning.
I know, right? It's really fun. Well, we have a good time. That's one of the things I always told people. Well, I genuinely like people, and so that's a good thing. When you genuinely like people, and that's all people. I genuinely like all people, generally and genuinely, like all people. Everybody gets a first pass. So speaking of stuff like that, crazy. It's crazy again in the world, huh? My gosh, we have earthquakes in Japan. Something like 30 earthquakes. 30 earthquakes. I mean, this is pretty major, guys. We got 30 earthquakes. It says massive in the first 3, but I don't think they were massive. But of course, I don't know if you've ever been around. I was around when we did when we had the earthquake in Washington, D.C. It was really funny, kind of, because earthquake in Washington, D.C. I was literally on K Street, I think, not in Georgetown. I was on Well, shoot, that's how my memory is these days. But anyway, the main street there in Georgetown, and it started rumbling, and I'm like, I mean, this is Washington D.C. Like we don't have earthquakes here, and
Right.
and then sure enough, it's an earthquake, and so I was standing like out. I think I just hit the Starbucks or something, and I didn't know whether to go in or out. I'm like, hold on, everybody. We were all kind of looking at each other, like, do we go in or do we go out? And then it was kind of over. But it cracked the Washington Monument, and they're
wow.
dealing with a lot worse over there in Japan right now. There was also a tsunami wave or waves. It doesn't look. It said from what I read briefly. Now you know how this stuff is. It comes in live, right? 27 different earthquakes from 7.6 to 3.5, causing extensive damage to the infrastructure. We have now also, so that was 40 earthquakes in 2 hours. So we're talking some major stuff going on here. Obviously, people, pray for the people in Japan. There's people buried. There's also some tsunami waves that hit Japan and also are threatening Russia. 5-meter tsunami waves. Now, this is, fresh off, so you know how it is. They might change those things. 5-meter tsunami waves strike Japan's west coast following the 3 massive earthquakes. This was before it was 40. 3 massive earthquakes. I don't think they're massive, but that rocked the central Japan. Russia, Sakhalin region now braces for impact with evacuations and warning in effect. So, craziness going on. Then, of course, you have we had New Year's, which I hope everyone had a wonderful New Year's. It is kind of surreal, isn't it? Like when you're like celebrating New Year's, and then like, we have like bombs dropping over in different places, and there's like, full blown war going on. It is surreal.
Yeah, really.
Yeah. I mean, it's surreal. It is surreal. So pray for all those people too. I'm starting to sound like a preacher. I do that sometimes though. Pray for everybody. No, really, pray for peace, because like I always say, guys, the wars and everything, they're going to end sooner or later, and they're going to end through talking. We're going to talk to each other, and we're going to figure a way forward. And so we should try to do that as much as possible. So then we had our protesters in Times Square. I went to bed before that, so I didn't see how that turned out, but nothing popped up at me this morning. So I think it was predominantly peaceful, which was good. I know people were worried about that as it was happening in New York City. And then, of course, Japan took over everything. The markets are looking pretty good. I got to be honest, as I always am. That's always a funny saying, right? Got to be honest. Bitcoin is up a little bit. It looks like kind of primed, though, for a pretty nice. It looks like it's looking pretty good. Dow futures are kind of flat. They're down a little bit, but again, that's kind of a. Hold on a second here. That is fairly, sometimes just kind of delayed is fine. Over in Asia, which of course I always like to look at these markets right around the world. They can kind of predict where we're going here. Shanghai up a little bit. We got the Nikkei down a little bit. Shenzhen is up a little bit. Overall, it's up. Mm-hmm. Overall, we are up. So that would so yeah, this is as I started reading these, the Dows and this everything. These is closed today. Those numbers I was reading weren't making sense. So we are live. Nothing was changing. I looked at everything 20 minutes ago and it wasn't changing. So those are numbers that we closed at. So we're looking basically at what is still being traded, commodities and everything like that. Of course, Bitcoin is looking good. ICP, another nice pump. Man, we're happy guys, man. Woo. Matt Dixon told me to buy ICP a bunch of times over the last bit, and that was really good advice. Speaking of Matt Dixon is with Ave AI Ratings and Platform. Let's bring him on.
Yes.
Hello, Mr. Dixon. How are you?
Hello. Good morning, David, Bruce. Happy New Year to everybody.
Yeah, Happy New Year.
Yeah, what a new year. So, it's interesting. I mean, it's good, I think, that you just said pray for everybody in 2024. God bless us all, because, you see things like this, what's happened in Japan. Some things are outside of our control. And that, you said not so big. 7.6 is a pretty massive earthquake. I know that Japan are really well set up for it, because they build, their infrastructure is really built to withstand these things, because it is an earthquake zone, isn't it? But that's a massive earthquake. I mean, you talked about I think you said you felt one in Washington sometime. I had one in the UK back in 1990. I was actually showing somebody around my house I was trying to sell, and the house started shaking. And it basically put the person off. I said, that's an earthquake. And we don't have earthquakes in the UK, so they didn't believe me. But later on, it came out in the news that we'd had what do you call it? A magnitude 4 earthquake. But magnitude 7 is, what is it? It's about 1,000 times more powerful than a magnitude 4. And this is 7.6, almost 10,000 times more powerful. Because every magnitude you go up, I think, is 10 times, as far as I'm aware. So that's a pretty big earthquake, one of the biggest. So,
well, I take that back. Right as we were going on the air, of course, I thought, it wasn't that big, or not this and that and the other, but it was big. Yeah, 7.6 is big. You're absolutely correct. I think the one that we had in DC was like a 3.7. Yeah. In comparison. So, and 40 shakes. I mean, they're not even calling them after trembles, because of course you have after trembles, or whatever they're called as well. You'll continue to feel those for sometimes days after an event like this. Craziness.
Hopefully all those aftershocks take a bit of pressure off it. I think it's subduction, isn't it, where one plate is slipping under another plate, and when you get these multiple quakes, it takes a little bit of pressure off it all. So hopefully that'll be the end of it for them. And as I say, they're well set up for it. So
that's true. Do you remember years back, right? It was Japan that it hit one of their nuclear power plants. And that was really something else. That was a mess.
Yeah. I think that was back in near the year 2000, wasn't it? Somewhere around there. But yeah, that was Y2K, huh? Yeah.
Y2K, remember that one? Yeah. Turn off your computers. Turn everything off. We don't know what's going to happen
what other earthquakes are we going to get this year? Apart from this literal earthquake, what other earthquakes might we see this year? Who knows?
I think we're going to see a lot of crazy stuff this year. I think that this year, 2024, is going to be the year. You thought 2020 was crazy? I think 2024 is going to just knock your socks off. I think there's going to be so much stuff going on. And that's why, we like we all said, pray for everybody, and try to keep yourself right, and try to manage your finances right, which is one of the reasons why we do this show, to help people out in times that are confusing. We have the governments around the world printing money, just at no end. There's really no end in sight. I have gone back from the thought where prices are going to come down. I don't think prices have come down. As we've talked about on this show a couple of times, they're just going to print their way out of the debt. That seems to be the plan. So, and by that, print their way out of the debt, they means, they just keep printing the money until the debt's not that much, because they diluted the the amount that the money is worth.
Yeah. So you basically print your way out of debt by creating more debt. That's right. That's where
these are the people running our country, guys. Countries.
Yeah. So anyway, it's been an interesting start. With, as I say, we've had an earthquake. Let's hope that's not a sign of things to come. Let's hope it's not such a turbulent year. I mean, we've got, as you say, cryptocurrency may be a way out for all the earthquakes that we're probably going to see in the traditional financial world. So I was going to look today at a comparison between, we looked the other day, we looked at Litecoin, Bitcoin, didn't we, which are very, very similar cryptocurrencies. They started off roughly the same time. Basically, one was formed out of the other. So, yeah, that was interesting. So I'm just going to show you a little look today. And again, if you can see my screen, can you?
Yes.
Here we are.
Great. I mean, here's my own little chart on XRP. So I wanted to look today at XRP and Bitcoin a little bit. I mean, we all know about Bitcoin. We looked at it in detail the other day. Here's XRP, and XRP is quite an interesting one because it's, unlike a lot of cryptocurrencies, this is a kind of for use in the traditional financial system. So it enables cross-border transfers very, very efficiently. So when you think about Bitcoin, Bitcoin allows about 7 transactions per second, which really isn't enough. Whereas XRP allows 1,500 transactions per second. XRP is very much more efficient. Not only does it allow 1,500 transactions per second, which is the sort of transaction speed that you need to be a viable transfer mechanism. It takes about 3 to 5 seconds for validation, whereas, as we know, Bitcoin takes anything from 10 minutes upwards. So that 3 to 5 second is really good, really efficient, and it's very energy efficient. So when you think about Bitcoin, it uses something like 0.3% of the world's energy. It's very, very highly consumptive in terms of energy, whereas XRP. Ripple is actually the company. It's the Ripple ledger. They created a ledger, but XRP is actually the cryptocurrency. So they're actually, some people use them interchangeably. They're actually 2 separate things. Ripple and XRP are 2 separate things. So
hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Ripple and XRP are 2 separate things. Run that one by me again.
So Ripple was basically the company that started. It started even before cryptocurrency became a thing. So I can't remember the exact year. I think it might have been 2004 that Ripple was created, the company. And it wasn't even XRP that was. So basically, you have a Ripple ledger. So that's the Ripple blockchain, effectively, which was created later down the line. The token that was used initially was called Newcoin. That was in 2011. And then later on, it evolved, a little later in 2011, it evolved to from Newcoin to, what was it? It was something else, from Newcoin to another coin anyway. And then it's only later on, it changed to XRP. So
interesting.
There's been a bit of an evolution there. So there is a difference there. So when people say, oh, I bought Ripple, they didn't buy Ripple because Ripple is a company, unless they bought Ripple shares. XRP is the token, which is the token that is on the XRP ledger. So the XRP ledger is the blockchain, and it's used to facilitate cross-border transactions.
Yep.
So that's a little bit of that. Here's my XRP chart. This is really a short-term chart, just one I knocked together. I think that long-term, we're still in an uptrend, as you can see by this red line. So we're still long-term uptrend. Short-term, I think we're in what's called a triangle, possibly. It's not certain, but it seems to be within an ABCDE triangle. And I'm just proposing, this isn't a certainty, but January 10th is when we're going to get this ETF ruling. Most likely anyway, it's not guaranteed, but most likely January 10th. Now that could be positive for cryptocurrency, and we could see a pump higher in all the cryptos, but I'm just showing here XRP. So potentially we'll see this triangle complete and push higher. But what's interesting is I did a comparison the other day, didn't I, between Litecoin and Bitcoin.
Yep.
So my conclusion between those currencies was that during bull and bear market, so during a bull market, Bitcoin rose more than Litecoin, and during a bear market, Bitcoin fell less than Litecoin. So my conclusion was that Bitcoin was a better investment on that basis alone. We don't know what the future will bring. It may be different. This is on all the historical data. But I'm looking here at XRP and Bitcoin, And there's some differences here between what we saw the other day. So there's actually more volatility here. So what we saw the other day, just to summarize, there's less volatility on the Litecoin than there is on Bitcoin. So Bitcoin gave you more chance for upside and less chance for downside. But XRP is more volatile. You know, we saw a massive new high right back in 2018. I think it was January 2018 on XRP to $3 and change. And it came back after that down to 11 cents. So we see more volatility. Now, traders love volatility. So it means that XRP is very interesting from a volatility perspective. It has, it creates opportunities, basically. So this is one that has a real good use case, probably better than Bitcoin. But you have to remember, I just told you that XRP has transactions up to 1,500 per second. Do you know which is one of the best ones in terms of transaction speeds, Bruce or David?
Well, XRP is made for this.
XRP is great at 1,500 per second, but did you know Solana, I think, is something like 30,000 per second? So Solana, I mean, we've seen Solana has been the real bright spot, hasn't it? Where, it's absolutely pumped lately. It's well over.
Oh my gosh, it's been unbelievable pump. We got everybody in New York running around the nice big community, Solana community in New York, and everyone's got these huge bags. They're running around. You would think the Solana was Jesus. I mean, these people are Solana. I mean, it went from $11 to 100, and what did peak at the other day? 128, 125 bucks. Yeah,
10x in no time at all.
Yeah.
So it's amazing, and it does have some really good fundamentals, and that's what I'm saying. Transaction speed is absolutely amazing. So whilst XRP has some amazing potential and some great volatility, it's a great trader's tool, and transaction speeds are really fast, and it's really cheap to, there's the actual network is very, very cheap to run. The consensus is great. It's a social governance consensus, as against Bitcoin is proof of work, which is very energy intensive. The cost to transfer a Bitcoin, it's quite expensive. It can be up to about $60, whereas XRP, you're talking a tiny, tiny, tiny fraction of a cent for your transaction cost. So XRP is amazing, but you have to bear in mind there's new up-and-coming cryptocurrencies like Solana, for example, which they're always improving. So whilst Bitcoin is the big daddy, the grandfather of them all, and it's the store of value, so that's why Bitcoin has always been up there. I think all of the other cryptocurrencies are in a bit of flux, and they're all in competition, and they're improving in terms of security, in terms of transaction speeds, in terms of cost, in terms of validation mechanisms. All these things are in flux and they're improving. So it just shows what an exciting technology it is, and why it's important to diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket once again. So, just one final thing. We're showing here that XRP on this long-term chart is potentially showing lower to go, with Bitcoin potentially showing 3, 4 with a wave 5 to go to take us to all-time highs on Bitcoin. That's what this chart is showing us, whereas XRP is potentially showing lows. But I did want to chart this on a shorter term basis. And I'll just try to show you this on a shorter term basis with XRP. This was from the recent low we had back in July of last year, July of last year, and how it's moved since then. So this is looking at a more bullish case for XRP, with basically a wave 1 up, wave 2 down. Wave 3 would take us way above here to new highs potentially. So there's never certainty with these things. There's real potential with XRP. There's real volatility. It's a crypto that I really like. As I say, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Don't take too much risk. Don't invest money you can't afford to potentially lose. But it is actually an asset class that you probably can't afford to avoid either. What do you think, Bruce?
Oh yeah, I mean, I would absolutely agree. The upside for XRP. Well, here's the thing I feel about XRP. Yeah, it's. I know you were talking about Solana as well. XRP is one of those that I don't really see going much further down. I think it's down. I think it's at a low point you know, what is the low that it hit to 20 cents or something like that? I mean, what are we at?
The low
60
I've seen on it is 11 cents. As of since that high of $3.30 about, it did go down to 11 cents. I mean, that's what I say is lovely for traders. It's got real volatility, but you have to bear in mind XRP has a total supply of 100 billion, and there's only about 54 billion of those actually in the market at the moment. So there's a lot of XRP that can potentially hit the market.
Yes. Well, that's true. And even though everybody, I mean, I see it going back to an all-time high. I personally definitely think that it'll get there. It'll probably go to $10. They could at the same time take everyone's money, as they would say, and have a lower cost token and use that in their tradings with the different banks, which is,
I mean, that's the only potential downside. I do see it as an amazing cryptocurrency, which could actually be used even in conjunction with CBDCs. So, you know, you talk about these central bank digital currencies, which are probably going to be coming out maybe 2024, who knows? They've been testing them in various parts around the world, in China and so on. They have been testing them. But XRP can actually be used for transactions between different CBDCs. So XRP has a use case even in a new financial world with CBDCs. But the only downside is, and I try to give the positives and the negatives, the downside is, from that perspective, the XRP volatility. So whilst I say it's great for traders, for a medium of transaction to facilitate cross-border transactions, that volatility is a negative. So there's positives and negatives. But it's still, you know, still definitely one that I think you need to hold something.
I tend to agree. You got to have some XRP. You want exposure to these digital assets. You know, when these things pump, it's like, good Lord, you know, I mean, when these things go, look at Solana. If you had $1,000 in Solana, you know, a few months ago, you have $10,000 now, you know. If you had 10,000, you got 100 grand. And, you know, that's guys, you can't ignore that. Okay. That's, you know, what's what we call the transfer of wealth. They say this is the biggest transfer of wealth we've ever had. Well, there you go. I mean, the money doesn't come out of, you know, nowhere. Okay. I mean, as much as it seems like it comes out of nowhere, it doesn't. It doesn't disappear to nowhere either, kind of. I mean, it's all kind of relative, and that's a whole nother discussion. But,
it's a complete misnomer, isn't it? That actually people have this impression that crypto money comes out of nowhere, and it's completely the opposite, as you say. There's you know, with most of the cryptos, there's a finite number of tokens in existence, and they're valued according to supply and demand, as are all assets. But the problem is with all traditional fiat assets, dollar, pound, euro, yen, whatever, they basically have unlimited, infinite supply. They can print whatever they want, whenever they want. And that's exactly what they've been doing lately. Whereas at least with crypto, it's the same thing, supply and demand, but the supply is fixed.
That's right.
Or it's known. There's a known supply with most of them. I mean, yeah, there's some like, you know, Ethereum don't have a fixed supply, but, you know, again, we can monitor everything on the blockchain. A lot of what government does with fiat, you can't even see what they're doing. They're doing so much behind the scenes, aren't they?
Oh, man. I mean, you know me. I'm here in Washington, man. I mean, I'll tell you what. I always thought, let me go into business. When I was a kid, you didn't go in government to get rich. You went into business. You did business. You started your corporation. You did all these things. Man, that's not how you do it anymore, man. Nowadays, you head into there, you get your 200 or 300K salary per year, and then you do whatever in the world else they're doing to make these millions and millions of dollars. You spend one term in Congress or one term as a senator, and you are a multi-millionaire. You're getting paid by all types of corporations to post on X, to do, and I mean, don't quote me on this stuff. I'm saying this is what it looks like to me. Okay, I don't want to get in any trouble. This is what it looks like to me. You're getting paid to do all kinds of stuff, and then you know what to trade on too. How do you not? If you're allowed to trade, and you know that a stock's going to move 100%, how do you not trade that if you're allowed to? I mean, people blame the people. I don't blame the people. How do you not trade that? Of course you trade it.
Yeah, these politicians, it's basically a shortcut way to become a multi-billion influencer. You know, you get in front of the crowds, the populace, people listen to you, you get some, you know, some authority, and then you go out and that's why people want you. They, you know, people pay influencers, and they're some of the biggest influencers out there because they have, surprisingly, actually have credibility. I don't know why, because they're the most non-credible bunch of people in general, allegedly, all that kind of stuff.
I've heard allegedly. This is what it looks like to me. I know it is crazy. But things go in waves, so you know, hopefully that will change a bit. I mean, I guess we'll see. I know, you know, for instance, like right now, and for the last decade or so, you know, you got out of the military and you started contracting, and you were again making tons of money. Really, I mean, really a lot of money. And you know, when my father got out of the military, you know, so long ago, I guess what, 40 years ago, it wasn't like that at all. You know, it wasn't like that, but now it is. But things change, so we'll see how that goes. But right now, of course, it's big business. Military is big business. That's actually what's fueling the economy as we see it. You have the military-industrial complex that is really pushing everything. War is profitable. Unfortunately, it's true. War is a profitable business, and so that's going to continue. So.
Yeah, you just need to remain agile. So embrace opportunities. I don't necessarily agree with embracing the opportunities of war, but there are other ways, lots of other opportunities. You know, about, you know, water, and you know, you know, the green, all these green things. Some of them are, you know, they're fake. You know, they call some things green, which actually use more energy than other traditional technologies and so on. But yeah, do your research. Same with crypto, same with everything. Do your research, root out those opportunities, or, you know, find those opportunities. There's always opportunities. Even in war, there are you know, I wouldn't believe, I don't agree with supporting war in any way, really, but there are still opportunities. And some people, you know, made their money, made their businesses in the aftermath of war. And that's, you know, again, there's something called, there's a guy called Schumpeter, I think his name was. He was a Nobel Prize winner many years ago. And he talked about something called, I think it's called creative destruction or something like that, something of that sort. Anyway, basically, where out of destruction, you need destruction to have creation, basically, to build afresh, to build anew. And you know, we see those opportunities everywhere around the world at the moment.
We seem to have that destruction part down really well.
But you know, America actually also have that construction part down really well, don't they? Because they're one of the leading, well, they are the leading economy in the world, but they actually get in there and get involved in the construction side as well, which is why war is so profitable. It's not just about weapons, it's about rebuilding.
Yes, those contracts are huge.
Yeah.
Massive. Yeah, it was it's interesting. Our friend Habsburg, that was how he always told me, you know, the whole deal with the COVID and everything too. You got to break everything down in order to rebuild, because you can't rebuild if it's not broken. You got to break it first. And so, unfortunately, we seem to be in this cycle. One of the ways that we are unable to change any of this is because we keep using the fiat money. And so if you're able to diversify, you're able to put money into gold, into silver, into coins that have real value that they're unable to seize and take and freeze, like Bitcoin, Litecoin, Global Boost, and then as well some upsides into these other blockchains like XRP, Solana, and stuff like that. Just know what they are, understand what you're doing, okay? And hopefully we can help you with that. And we're always available. Matt is MD Trade. He's MD Trade on X. He's always available. He's charting every day, not only here on our show, Money in the Morning, but he's also putting his stuff out consistently on his show as well. And David, of course, is Sir David Porter. I'm Networks Manager. We have a special guest coming up here too. Matthew, we did it again. Another New Year's Day show. Great job.
Yeah.
Man.
Been a pleasure. Look forward to tomorrow. I'm going to go out and enjoy some sun now. It's actually a sunny day. So we've got a brand new sunny day for 2024.
Oh, there you go. Awesome. Well, Happy New Year, sir. Thanks for coming on. As
Happy
always.
New Year, David. Happy New Year, Bruce, and everybody. Bye for now.
Cheers.
Thank you, Matt.
So next up, we have a bit of a treat. I got to be honest. I got to stop saying that. I got to be honest. I'm going to drop that one. I'm always honest, pretty much, unless I'm not honest. No, I'm kidding. I'm always honest. But we have, there was a coin. If you were around back in the day, in 2013, 2014, but 2014 was the year. There was a lot of these OG coins started. The Global Boost was one of them. Potcoin was one of them. Red Coin, I think, was also 2014, somewhere in 2013. Dogecoin, I think, started actually 2013. But 2013, 2014, I mean, this was the year. And there was this one coin that just, I mean, back in the day, I mean, it was like meteoric. I mean, the rise of this coin was something like we had never seen before. And it had a really special story to it as well. And that coin was Aurora Coin. Aurora Coin. It was the Icelandic coin. The Icelandic coin that they started, and everybody was going to get one. And it was, so interesting. And this thing went from like 0 to, I think, $200 or more, which again, like, we're not talking about Bitcoin was, I think that the high for Bitcoin at that point was like $600. I think it was the highest we've been. So anyway, without further ado, we align on a lot of things, and he's a really great guy. We're running in a lot of the same circles, working with a lot of the same people. Let's welcome Michael Hannes, or Michael Haynes. Hello, Miguel. How are you? Get one. And it was, Michael, you have to turn the feed off. $3 or more, which again, like, we're not talking about Bitcoin was, you have to turn the feed off and turn your microphone on. Can you hear us?
There's these two, number 1 and number 2.
Anyway, without further ado, okay, you got to turn the feed off. And he's a really great guy. We're running a lot of the same circles, working with a lot of the same people. Please welcome Michael Hannes. Michael.
Hi, guys.
Hello, Miguel, how are you?
I'm doing okay.
Michael, you have to turn the feed off.
Yeah. So I'm
Nice.
But we're live.
You can't hear us now.
You can't hear us.
I don't get this.
You don't hear us now?
I heard you a while ago, and
You have your headphones in on the wrong inlet.
I don't see what's going on here. But I can't hear you, and something was up with the headphones before. Like, I heard you for a moment, but I was having to listening to you on mobile to really get this. So
can you just listen on your take your headphones off possibly and listen on the computer?
I'm not seeing anything here that doesn't look right. My microphone is working.
Can you hear me?
Can I hear you guys? Can you hear me?
We can hear you, yeah.
Okay, we're good now.
All right. I thought so. How are you, sir?
I'm really good. Happy New Year's, guys.
Happy New Year's.
Thanks for reaching out to me yesterday, Bruce.
Well, it's really great. It's always fun to talk to guys like, I would say, us, or like you, that have been in for so long and working with the historic project like this. I went over a little bit of the meteoric rise of Aurora Coin. I mean, this was a coin that changed crypto history. This was like, there was nothing like this ever before, and there hasn't been something like it ever since. So maybe
No,
tell
there
us a little
hasn't.
bit about your involvement and in the history.
So I was actually involved just right before the airdrop. I was fortunate enough to have a cousin of mine who was getting in on the mining. So we went live on January 24th of 2014. So we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary this month. And so, of course, the mining started, and that was going on for a few months before the general airdrop. But it was, of course, before the airdrop came when we hit our meteoric rise.
I know I've been practicing that one, so don't feel bad.
It is a tough one. And in Iceland, it's much easier. We just put the accent on the first syllable always.
Okay.
So meteoric rise.
There you go.
And so, and
I just want to before we get into that, because for our audience, we have a large audience. Of course, we're on TV in Texas and Louisiana, and then of course we're streaming live, which our streaming audience probably understands a lot more about this. But what Aurora Coin did was they started a coin specifically for Iceland, and everybody who is a citizen of Iceland got an airdrop at a certain point. And so that's when he said, I got involved right before the airdrop. That's what he's talking about. Go ahead.
Exactly. So the blockchain went live in January. The airdrop occurred in April or May of that year. And in between that time, before we went live, something happened where we saw this meteoric rise. And I believe it was a combination of a few things. One, I mean, crypto was kind of hot at that time. People were looking for the next new big thing. And we were the first coin that was doing a certified airdrop to a nation, right? And with Iceland having just 300,000 people, there was a lot of hope for synchronicity and really like widespread adoption. There were some rumors about the how the central bank was going to respond positively to the coin. So I've never seen any evidence that it was a pump and dump scheme. I generally feel that there was just a lot of people excited about the nation of Iceland taking on a crypto project and having some element of fair distribution. So the double-edged sword came down pretty hard because with such a high price, there was a very large initiative or a large drive to take profit into Bitcoin, which was probably a smart thing to do. But that's kind of the funny thing with altcoins. When we get quite successful, boom, people switch over into Bitcoin as it's the worldwide standard for store of value. That's understandable. So what these smaller coins have to do is really fulfill their niche of community use, lower fees, community feedback, have something that directly comes back and benefits the users of the chain. So I was kind of involved from an outside viewpoint. At that point, I started a little community store on the corner, like a little convenience shop, and was accepting crypto. The use wasn't so high, but I was kind of out of the project for a couple of years. But starting in like 2017, 2018, I got a lot more involved, and I've been basically running the project with our programmer for like the last 4 years. So yeah. Well,
it's really impressive. It's one of the things like we have every year, kind of like, or every crypto winter, kind of a culling. There's like culling of the old projects, right? And you kind of look around and you see who's still standing at the end, and right. And there you are. And it takes a leader, obviously, and then a team. And then the thing about Aurora Coin is, of course, you guys have this brand. I mean, everybody, if you were around, everybody remembers it. It's like everybody knew it. Everybody remembers. And it was such a moment in history. And I agree, It wasn't a scheduled pump and dump. I mean, it went up so high. It was the first time in the history of crypto that we had ever seen anything like this. Of course, people moved into Bitcoin, and then of course we are all these years later. You guys are still proof of work mining?
That's right. We went from a Litecoin base to a Digibyte based code base. So now we're running 5 different algos with a limiter. So you can't own the bit. One algorithm can't be run for more than 6 blocks at a time. That's the same way Digibyte used to work. And in the future, we may change that. But for right now, it provides a lot of security to our blockchain. Our programmer has been releasing code like every 18 months. So I think we're like Bitcoin 2019, 2020 compliant. So we have our Electrum servers running, which is part of Satoshi's original SPV version. And yeah, we're still one of the national coins that are still standing.
Yep.
Aurora Coin has been working with Canada eCoin and the Netherlands eGulden, and now we're working with Germany's eMark, and there's some other national projects that we're working with. So we really believe in the UTXO, the strength of the UTXO network, and we've also somewhat partnered with Atomic Debt's Komodo wallet. So we're doing atomic swaps on there all the time. So since we do have a small team and it's volunteer, it's been volunteer from the beginning. There's never been any original pre-mined coins for the developers. We still have like maybe 20% of our pre-mined coins. We used 80% of the coins to launch a Icelandic blockchain foundation a few years back, which expanded the outreach, the community outreach to all things crypto. So what's been good for the Aurora Coin project is that as we're continuing to build out our Electrum and backend architecture, building our relationships with exchanges, these other coins. So we're just kind of staying low on the radar. We've had good success over the last year, 150%. So I think we've definitely hit our all-time, our reasonable all-time low, like many coins have. So there's still a demand out there, even though we're really low on the radar, and we have different projects that we're considering, because it's always an issue of onboarding and getting and moving into scale with onboarding. And so I've started a mining pool called Valhalla Punteris 1L. I have a Aurora Coin 101 community outreach website. And now I'm thinking about launching something called halfpriceland.is, which would be a way to onboard small or craft makers and artists within Iceland to sell some Icelandic goods to Aurora Coin fans worldwide. Because you're right. I mean, Aurora Coin has one of the strongest brands in crypto.
It does,
if I may say so. And it's got an OG respect, and there's a little bit of misunderstanding about what happened to the coin. So that's okay, because we've got the milestones, and it's just really an issue of communication.
Yeah, I wouldn't even worry about that at all. I mean, here's the thing: the brand is strong, and those of us that are there's actually not that many of us, right? That were around. It was a very small group of people that were around. It's still small, but of course, it's a lot more high profile now. But still, the average person is not holding crypto. They all should hold crypto. And when Mikhail talks about, it's probably reached the bottom like that. I mean, when you take a coin like this with the max coins at 21 million, it's an interesting play. It is a high risk. This is what I'll talk about a lot on this show. These are high risk, but possibly high reward assets. And so that going in, but it's pretty interesting. So I did cruise over some of the exchanges. That FX, how's that one working out for you? Super FX.
That could be a misunderstanding because we're not on Super FX. That's probably one of the other Aurora project coins that have been associated with us. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're on Atomic Dex, which is Komodo Wallet now. We're on Fry Exchange, FREI Exchange. That's our main Bitcoin pair. That's where all the miners go to release their coins.
Yeah.
We're also on ZegX. We're also on XBTS. So we're on 2 decentralized exchanges.
Okay.
So what we really have is a volunteer project that's been continuing to build out some of our back end infrastructure work. Everybody's got their own projects going on, but that's a funny thing about synchronicity. You never really know what's around the corner.
Right.
So for me, it's a little bit of building out the brands and potentially looking for some capital this year to try to launch some of these ideas. And I was listening to you guys before I came on here, and I think you know this, Bruce. You and I, we're two birds of the same feather, So I think little do people know what kind of. I'm a very strong advocate for what we're seeing going on in the world and the need for truth or activism, if I can call it that. And so we all know what we're kind of up against. We know the strengths of crypto too. I was listening to Michael Saylor of MicroStrategy, and because I've also always seen, as you can see, this image I have in the background, I see this kind of dimensional power behind cryptocurrency. And he put it really interesting about how we have lots of different energy sources within the world, whether it's social media influencers and the kind of energy that comes behind that, and the energy of electricity, the energy of influencers, and also the energy of the monetary energy. And so like what we're seeing happening in blockchain is kind of beyond a lot of our comprehension, because there's something going on in other dimensions that it's hard for us to without going so woo woo there. It's basically just math, right? We got an XY graphs and we're throwing a Z on there, right? So there's something really powerful going on, and it's all about finding these parallel communities and parallel economies. So we don't have to reset. We can just benefit from what's the Taoism art of Zen? Like when your enemy is destroying itself, don't get involved.
Don't stop them. Whatever that saying is. It's right. It is pretty interesting. We've been at this for a while, guys. The monetary revolution, I talk about it on stage around the world. This is how we take the power back from these people. You want to know why you can't control what's going on in Congress. You want to know why you can't control your basically overlords, right? Around the world. Really, it's because they're not working for you. They're working for the central bank. The central banks have taken over our countries around the world, and they're the ones printing the money. And that's who our government works for. And it's like worldwide. And it's happened in a time where information wasn't available and alternatives weren't available to people. But now information is available. And you have people like me, they'll even put me on TV. I'm even on TV. In certain places.
Can't stop it. No.
You can't stop it anymore, because here we are. We're live streaming around the world as well. So if you don't provide that access to people, then you're actually no longer relevant. And so actually, even with our TV stations, we're growing a lot, of course, with smart money culture and some of the other things there. But the way that we take the power back from these people is by not using their money. And I know you need your money for fiat. I know you need to pay your mortgage and, you do these types of things. Well, then do that. And then every week, some of the most successful people I know, every week they just bought some. Look at Bitcoin Ben. I mention him all the time. I'm going to have him on the show. Maybe we'll do a pre-record. I know it's early for him. But Bitcoin Ben, he just bought Bitcoin and Litecoin every week for like 8 years.
That's right.
Well, shoot, man. I've been out to his places. He's got multiple clubs. He's got lots of stuff, and he's been doing his show all the time. And guys, that's a way that we can take the power back from these people, because these assets, by all indications, are going to continue again, because they keep printing the money. They keep inflating the money. And, if you realize, if you actually think about it, they told you in college and they told you in school that inflation is natural and inflation is good. Inflation just happens. Inflation doesn't just happen. A piece of gold that bought you a loaf of bread 100 years ago is the same piece of gold that buys you a loaf of bread now. The difference is that your dollars have been inflated so much. It's absolutely ridiculous. I did the math. My father, during the Great Depression, he told me he used to get paid $7 a week, and he worked at the lumber yard. And so I was at the cigar shop with my dad over the holidays, and we kind of did a little bit of math. It's about $200 a week in today's world, and I think it's actually even worse. But I just wanted to know, like, what was $700 or what was $7 back then. So, it's even worse, really. That math.
Well, I mean, there's all kinds of statistics that show that the Great Depression compared to what's going on today, kind of really shines a light on how bad the state of things are today. Well, but there's no need to get negative. Let's say how bad this state of inflation is today.
Well, so, it's a good thing for crypto.
That's right. I mean, let's say, use your fiat to pay off your fiat debts and put a little bit on the side into what we're seeing is real digital assets that have proven to be a strong store of value. Look at crypto as a way to not only help out your situation, but your kids, your family situation. Like, if you're buying a lot of crypto right now, keep it in your mind that, okay, I'm going to give 20% of this to my friends and family when it goes to the moon, which, by the way, that term was coined by an Aurora Coin team member before Aurora Coin launched. But yeah, I mean, it's up to us to kind of take the lead and prepare our friends and family for what's in the future. And like I said, put it in your mind that you're already going to give 20% away to friends and family when they're in need in the future and they wish they would have came in. And then you're not going to have to worry that, like, oh, this was something for me, but it's like, no, you've already got it set aside, because it's this kind of mindset of giving and sharing and kind of really acting on the values that our leaders are not acting on. And, that's why I see a bright future in what we're seeing here.
Well, it's absolutely true. Mikkel, I know we could go on and on. It's an absolute pleasure to have you on, talk face to face, even if it's over our stream here. I definitely want to get together. I think there's a lot that we can do this year, as the year progresses. As I mentioned earlier in the show, we're starting our 90-day run, which is going to be pretty intensive. I mean, let's face it, a 6 a.m. morning show for me is pretty intensive as well. I know it's 5 a.m. in Texas and Louisiana, so it's even more for them. But you guys are just listening in, and thanks for that. But there's a lot that we're going to do, and it's these I firmly believe it's these coins, these OG coins, a lot of them that are going to make a big difference, because they're not seizable, they're not freezable, they're not they can't be taken by court order. And so you want exposure to these things. You want exposure to the other things as well, but you want exposure to these things, because if everything goes to whatever, you want these things. And so it's pretty interesting. And, you talk about things happening for a reason. So I'm glad that we touched base. Thank you so much for coming on. Real quick, because then we gotta cut it. How do people find you? What's the website and all that?
Well, okay, so that's a good one. I mean, we have a small team. I kind of overloaded myself on ways to present Aurora Coin to the community. I think people are going to have to just check out CoinGecko, Coin Paprika, Coin Market Cap, see where we're traded, see where we're at. We have a Discord channel. We have ways to reach out. Let's see how motivated people are to reach out and try to find us. I mean, we're on Twitter as official AUR. You can find me on there. You're gonna have to just kind of reach out and try to grab me.
Awesome.
Let's see who's got some initiative out there, because we're out there and we've been out there, and I'm looking forward to our 10th year this year. So
You're the man, and we're in our 10th year, brother. All
Yeah,
right,
and
guys. We're
Thank you, Michael.
signing off for today. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks
See
a
you
lot,
soon.
guys. Appreciate it. Bye.
Your voice is powerful. When combined with social engagement, it's a force for change. Decentralized media paired with free speech is the catalyst for an empowered world and a unified, invaluable ecosystem. Join Global Boost, become a champion of free speech, and help to reshape the future of media.